What a wonderful world. Because it is being manifest from the perfect law. It is coming from the pure substance of love. That's why it's a wonderful world. If it's not coming from the pure substance of love, then it might not be such a wonderful world for you. It might be a chaotic world. It might be a fearful world. It might be a world full of conflict. And that certainly is what we see a lot pictured in our world. And I will put forth that it is coming this way to us because we are out of balance with the male and the female. We have really forgotten the important aspect of ourselves, the feminine energy. But this Mother's Day, we have an opportunity to look at the ways that we are expressing the divine feminine aspect of our being. We are given another opportunity to express the mother side of God. And I would invite you to really think about this today. And remember all the ways that we've been taught that spiritual side of us that expresses unconditional love. Let us really connect with that today. Let us connect with the ability that we have to be loving, unconditionally loving to all beings, to all people. Now, we've tried the other way for quite a long time. We've tried fighting with one another, and we've tried warring with one another, and we've tried arguing with one another, and we've tried extracting all of the resources from the earth to build a world that we think we like, but it never works for everyone because we're not loving in an unconditional manner, or perhaps an all-conditional manner. No matter what conditions are presented to us, I feel that we are called to teach only love. So today, I really want to look at this one idea, that when we hold the experience of loving and being loved in the forefront of our consciousness, we are ready to enter into the heart of love. All else must be forgotten. I learned this from A Course in Miracles. The definition, my favorite definition of forgiveness, is that we remember only the loving thoughts that we gave in the past and those that were given to us. All else must be forgotten. And when we do this, when we hold the loving thoughts in the forefront of our consciousness, we're ready to enter into the heart of love and abide there forever as her gentle servant. This Mother's Day, I would like to celebrate three things. My mom, I would like to celebrate, who made her transition a little more than 6 months ago. She was the person who had the single biggest influence in my life. And so I would like to celebrate her today. I would also like to celebrate Myrtle Fillmore, who's been called the Mother of Unity. And out of her experience of healing was the Unity movement born. And I would also like to celebrate the Divine Mother, the mother side of God. So those three, I'm going to call it the Mother's Day Trinity. That's what we're going to celebrate today. My mom, our earthly moms, Myrtle Fillmore, who's been called the Mother of Unity, and the Universal Divine Mother. So, the first thing that comes to mind is, how do our mothers affect us in this life? Whether they were, quote-unquote, nurturing and caring or not, they did the best they could at the level of consciousness that they had at that moment. And they were the biggest influence in your life. Whether you saw it as a positive or a negative experience, it was the experience your soul called into being to learn what you needed to learn in this life and to become who you are. And so, if we can remember that we chose our mothers from a spiritual aspect. We chose our earthly mothers to teach us what we needed to learn and to become who we are. Forgiveness becomes natural and easy for us. Personally, I had an amazing mom. She was very loving and encouraging and caring, and she always welcomed me back home. So for me, I had the opportunity to go out and try everything. I could go out on adventures and fail, and I could drag myself back to Falmouth, and I could knock on the door, and she'd always greet me with a smile and say, "Welcome home." And I did this quite often until one day when I dragged myself back home. I had a beautiful wife from Colombia with me. And I realized it was our turn to start caring for her. It was our turn. It was my turn to show my mom what she had done for me, to reflect back the care and the comfort and all the little things. I have gained a real respect and gratitude for the small things in life. Just cooking breakfast and cooking dinner and eating together. For a few years, we had an opportunity to return to the simplicity of life and to share that with my mom. And I realized in those years that that's what she provided for me. Always making sure that I had clothes and a roof over my head and food on the table, her and my dad together. And so we need both parents. We need a father and a mother God. But what has happened is that we have focused only on the father, and we forgot about the feminine aspects of God and the feminine aspects, perhaps, of our own being. My mom also used to tell me, "I know you'll be successful at whatever you do, but I just want you to be happy." And so that's why I felt I could go out and try different things, that I could find what my soul was calling me to do, that I could discover myself. And when I came back home, finally with my wife Lily, my mom saw that I had discovered myself. And she supported me bringing this into a fullness of manifestation here on Cape Cod, Unity in Cape Cod. And it was an amazing couple of years that we spent with her, because she nurtured the seed of our desire. She nurtured it and brought that vision. She helped to bring that vision into fruition. And this is what Myrtle did with Unity. I want to read a little something from the Revealing Word. It's a famous Unity book of metaphysical definitions. And there's a definition for divine motherhood in here. The brooding, attentive, nurturing element of divine mind. Brooding, attentive, watching over you, making sure that you're safe and guiding you. Attentive, nurturing, nourishing. I love that word, nourishing. It's in the principle of tithing, actually, the principle of prosperity, is where do you get your spiritual nourishment? That's where we tithe to. What fills our soul and nourishes us. That's what we want to, in turn, give back a portion and nourish the greater self, the greater divine mother that's taking care of us. And so in that nourishing nature, I would like us to remember today Myrtle Fillmore, whose experience of healing really started the Unity movement. In other words, it was the ideas, the ideals, the seeds of the Spirit that were placed in the heart and the mind of Charles and Myrtle together, that became, they were allowed to grow and mature, and they became the unity movement. I want to read something that I found very humorous, actually. I found this very entertaining. Is a lot of people love, Charles Fillmore and everything that he gave us. But he wrote this in The Story of Unity about their early years when they had to really live and move and grow this movement on faith, because they never knew where the money was coming from. They never knew what was going to occur. And so Charles was in the real estate business. And so many people began to come to him and Myrtle. They came to them for healing because they heard Myrtle was healed. And they came for the teaching because they knew that they needed to be in the right mind in order to practice the affirmative prayer that would heal them. So Charles said, "Encouraged by my wife, I persevered when I was almost at the point of failure. And if there comes any universal success out of this continuous effort, she should have the greater share of the credit. Had I been alone, I would have more than once thrown in the whole thing and gone back to my real estate business." And I feel that's really kind of the story of my life. If I didn't have the encouragement of my mom, if I didn't have the encouragement of my wife, Liliana, I wouldn't have been able to do the continuous work that I am so happy to do, that I am thrilled to perform. I'm so happy to give of myself. Last week, I worked 3 12-hour days in a row, and I felt great. I felt amazing. I wake up the next day thinking, let's do it again. I was so happy to serve. And that's because I know what it has given me. Now, I mentioned that Unity started with Myrtle Fillmore's experience. And I want to read a little bit of that experience. In the chapter in this book of The Story of Unity by James Dillett Freeman, there's a chapter 11 that's called Their Healing Work. Heal the Sick. Unity began when Myrtle Fillmore received the idea, I am a child of God and therefore I do not inherit sickness. And she was healed by the power of God in her. The first fruit of Unity was the healing of the friends and neighbors who came to her with their physical ills and saw these ills dissolved through prayer. Unity has always emphasized healing through one thing, the Christ within. And so it was actually Myrtle who developed the manner in which we pray at Unity, which is to affirm the truth of the Christ within. All healing comes from the Christ within, the Spirit of the living God in us. And I say all around us. But this is really important, that their ministry started out as a ministry of healing. And the first fruits were the people who were hanging out with them, their friends and their neighbors. And pretty soon, more and more people began to come, because what they were also doing was writing letters. And I found this a very curious part of the story, is that the more that they would correspond with people, the more people would be healed even at a distance by applying the ideas themselves in their own mind. Now you have to remember, there weren't airplanes back then, and there weren't really high-speed travel. And so if somebody wanted to go to Kansas City, it took them a long time to get there. And they would write to people, they would send out the letters, and the people would write back stories of their miracles, of their healing, of their prosperity, of their abundance, of their lives being changed. And I want us to experience that now. Now that our planes have been grounded, now that we're not traveling, now that we're staying at a distance, let us remember that we too are connected, that we have the power to connect our minds together. We connect by internet now. And we feel and hear the stories of people being healed, coming into a peace in their life, coming into hope for the future, coming into prosperity and abundance, even in these times that rival the Great Depression, we still are feeling abundance and prosperity in our lives. Why? Because we're practicing spiritual principles and we're demonstrating the Christ within us. It's the Christ within that heals, nothing else. It's always that. It is always the power of the living God within you, the Spirit of the living God within you that is healing and that is bringing forth all good things. And so many people have called Myrtle the mother of unity. I mentioned that they were writing letters. So I got this little book out called Myrtle's Healing Letters. And in it, she addresses the idea of being the mother of unity. In her own words, "You call me the mother of unity, but dear, I feel you are crowning me with an honor that belongs only to the Holy Spirit, which is omnipresent and which expresses in the loving desires of the hearts of all those endeavoring to manifest the mother." Well, now, I know nothing of being the mother of unity. That would give me no greater joy than to feel that God could work so perfectly through me as to bring forth the great ministry and a place of peace and goodwill and health, such as this Unity School. But in reality, I feel I am only the soul who caught the first vision of this ministry and who nurtured that vision until others came along to help in the establishment of it in their hearts, in their minds. It is my great joy to perceive somewhat the mother side of God, the divine love that never fails, and that is equal to the drawing of souls to itself. It is my prayer to be able to radiate the qualities of this divine love to all. You too are the mother of unity. All of you. All of you, because in your heart you have the same ideals, and you have the same generous spirit, and you have the endless and tireless service. And you have the love that never fails. The mother of unity is the universal mother. And how happy are we to represent this mother? This is Myrtle Fillmore in Healing Letters. She took all the adoration that was given to her and gave it back to those who worked with her. She gave it back to all of us who work in unity. She gave it to us fully in such a way that we can experience the divine mother within us. That we can experience the divine Father and Mother God in us. Body, mind, and soul as one, demonstrating perfect love in this world. It can be done, and it must be done. You can do it, and I know you will, because that is your nature. And it's natural to heal the sick. It's natural to encourage those who are struggling. It's natural to give to those in need. It's natural to comfort and care for those around you. It's so natural to be compassionate. And it is unnatural to judge other people. It is unnatural to fight with other people. It is unnatural to be greedy. It is totally unnatural the way this world is going. And so I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that we will return to balance, that we will return to sanity, that we will return to love, and that we will return to a balanced Father-Mother nature within us. It's the natural evolution of our consciousness and of the human being. And so I'm going to ask you once again, all of you, just simply cooperate with the inevitable. We have to work together, we have to live together, and we have to love one another with that mother's love, with that deep, abiding, attentive, nourishing, divine mind. We need to come together and do that, to forgive, to love, to comfort, to care. And you know what? It just makes me so happy when I'm doing those things. So in every circumstance, wherever you go and whatever you might be doing, I want you to remember that we can hold this in our mind. When we hold the experience of loving and of being loved in the forefront of our consciousness and focus on that and forget everything else, then we are ready to enter into the heart of God, into the heart of love, and abide there forever as her gentle servant. This Mother's Day, in the year 2020, let us commit ourselves to loving our mother, loving ourselves, and loving our world unconditionally, all conditionally. That we commit ourselves to be a blessing, to live in the heart of love, no matter what. Let everything else go and just live there. That's what's going to make us happy. And we know it works because our mothers have demonstrated it. Our Mother Earth demonstrates it every day. And the Divine Mother also demonstrates it through giving us that spiritual power. So be blessed, my friends. Happy Mother's Day. Be a blessing. And no matter what happens, you can ask yourself the question, what would love do now? In every circumstance, wherever you find yourself, you can ask that question. And you can answer it. What would love do now?
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.